Dr. Steve Nugent is the Chief Health and Nutrition Officer and Chairman of the Global Scientific Advisory Board. Dr. Steve Nugent has more than 40 years of experience in the area of integrative medicine. He has tested more than 6,000 dietary supplement products and formulated more than 100. He is internationally recognized as an expert in his field and has been teaching doctors for more than 30 years. He is Manatech's most requested speaker worldwide. He has earned multiple degrees, graduating with top honors at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. He was awarded the Servant's Heart Award by Manatech Associates in 2007. Dr. Steve Nugent was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, served his country with honor as a United States Marine, and has been a resident of Texas for nearly 2 decades. Dr. Steve Nugent, thank you for being on our call tonight. Thank you for making yourself available. We are sitting back and we cannot wait to be informed and gain your wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geraldine. Very, very nice introduction. I appreciate that. I am going to share screen and show some slides this evening. Don't do that all the time on these presentations, but we have some really nice slides tonight. And Geraldine, I appreciate the way you did the introduction this evening, not just for me, but for everyone, because tonight, what we're going to be doing is not just celebrating World Health Day, but I want to give some preparation to all of you. Now, this is your leadership call. So all of the top leaders in South Africa are on this call. And all of you need to know that on World Health Day, which is April 7th, you all have an opportunity to talk to as many people as you possibly can about world health issues. So I'm going to give you some preparation during this presentation to give you some talking points and some direction to help you make World Health Day a success for your businesses and for all of the people that you introduce to our products, because as you know, World Health has always been at the top of my list of priorities. And I know it has been Manatech's as well. Although I started on that list of priorities before Manatech existed, still, we're all on the same page together. So I'm going to do the share screen thing here. And yep. All righty. Now, the World Health Organization first came to be on April 7th. Now, it was April 7th many years ago, but the point is it's their anniversary of their creation. That's why they call it World Health Day. Every year they have a theme. And this year's theme, interestingly, sounds a lot like my book, How to Survive on a Toxic Planet. That's a book that I wrote about 18 years ago. And 18 years ago, there weren't that many people who really cared about the issues that I wrote about in How to Survive on a Toxic Planet. Now, I know that many South African leaders have read my book, and so you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't read that book, then I'm going to give you a little background from the World Health Organization. Now, they want to point out that every year there are about 13 million human beings who die unnecessarily because they have been exposed to environmental toxins. Now, I say unnecessarily because it didn't have to occur, and it doesn't have to occur. If people know what to do, if they know how to do it, then they can actually prevent these tragedies. 13 million each year, according to World Health Organization. Now, as I pointed out in my book 18 years ago, there were various parts of the planet that were breathing air that was, well, not fit to breathe. And in fact, in my book, I talked about specific areas and the percentages of unbreathable air, if you will. But it's gotten a lot worse in 18 years. So it's not a a place here and a place there. According to World Health Organization, they say that 90% of all the people on planet Earth are breathing unhealthy air. Now, I know for a lot of people that's difficult to really get their hands around, because they say, well, the sky looks blue and I think the air smells okay, so it must be okay. What I talked about 18 years ago and have continued to talk about whenever I get the opportunity, such as today, is to let people know that the majority of airborne toxins are things that the human body is not designed to detect. These are things that are synthetic. They're so synthetic that you have no mechanism in your body to be able to see them, smell them, or taste them. Yet they are there. And we know that from human scientific testing. Now, this goes with water as well, which I talked about extensively in that book 18 years ago. And it's the same thing with water. There are chemicals in our water today which did not exist before the year 1930. And in fact, according to some scientists, they believe more than 100,000 different industrial chemicals are in our water today. Things that you cannot see, taste, or smell. You look at the water, it looks clear, it looks clean, but those chemicals are there even though you can't see them. And it is affecting your health. And it is very serious. And this is just part of the reasons why everyone should be supplementing with the proper dietary supplements every single day. World Health, their theme this year is to be proactive about your health, to think about the threats that exist and start doing something about it every day. Don't wait until you have a diagnosis or until you feel bad. Start to do the right things for your health every single day. That's what they're telling us to do. That's what this whole thing is about. And World Health also goes on to say, which is unfortunately true, that the modern food supply has a lot of chemical contaminants in it, contaminants that are adversely affecting our health. And it is highly unlikely that that is going to be corrected anytime in the near future. Now, I'm not going to reiterate my whole book, Toxic Planet. That would take several days, not just an hour presentation. But I think you get the picture for our starting point here. Well, what I promised to do in this presentation was to talk to you about the top trends in dietary supplements, not just today, but throughout this decade. And I will deliver on that. Why? Because you need to know what the majority of human beings are actually looking for. You may not be representing the products that most people are looking for. You may not know the right things to say so that you can help even more people than you had anticipated. So we're going to talk about those trends. We're going to talk about how people are spending their money globally. So not just in one country, but literally all over the globe, because Manatech is a global organization. And by the way, in case you didn't know, we are now doing business in 32 different countries. Truly a global organization. And I'm going to talk to you about growth trends, because that's important, because that can help you plan what you do to help others in the future and what you do to help with your business in the future. We'll talk about all of those natural trends in the industry, where they're going. Most of you are going to be surprised, I think, at where these trends are going. I think very surprised. So let's begin at the beginning, as they say. And we're going to start with referring back to the presentation I did, which I call the evidence for lifelong supplementation. And people think about, when you're conceived, you're growing. Well, in fact, in a purely scientific sense, you're aging. And you begin aging literally at the moment you're conceived. By the time you reach the age of 28, on average, you've reached your cellular peak. And literally, it's all downhill from there. Now, fortunately, the downhill trend is very slow and very minor for a while. When you hit around the age of 40, Now you begin to notice things. And this can be, for some people, it might be late 30s. For some people, it might be mid 40s, but it's around the age of 40 is the benchmark. That's when people typically start taking dietary supplements, because most people do not think in a preventive sense. Most people think about, oh, I have a problem, so now I need to go find a solution. Well, that's normal thinking, of course. But I want you to try and start being aware of the trends and help people to be proactive about their health. Sometimes if you wait until you know you have a problem, sometimes it's too late. So let's be proactive. And let's start with food. Back in 1995, and some of you have seen me talk about this before, in 1995, the U.S. Department of Agriculture did a huge human study, a blood study, and their purpose was to find out if human beings got sufficient levels of antioxidants from fruits and vegetables to compensate for air pollution in 1995. But what they found was that almost nobody did, and their recommendation was 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables daily. Now, I'm going to use U.S. statistics throughout this presentation, and for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is the United States is unique in that it represents literally every genetic group in the human race. That's number 1. Number 2 is that the U.S. spends incredible, not just hundreds of millions, but actually billions of dollars on health statistics. So we have got statistics to talk about. And that's not the case, unfortunately, in every country. Not every government has that kind of money to spend on this sort of thing. So, U.S. Department of Agriculture in 1995 says, well, with today's level of air pollution, 1995, we need 5 to 7 servings. They repeat the test every couple of years, and every time they repeat the test, the number goes up. Until the year 2012, they were up to 13 servings a day, and they said, forget it, we're not doing this anymore. It's obvious that nobody's going to eat this many servings of fruits and vegetables daily, and it's also obvious that air pollution is not going to get better. And in fact, it has gotten continually worse globally, although in certain countries there have been improvements. As an example, in the United States, about 4 years ago, U.S. air quality began to improve significantly, and that trend continues. However, there are countries in the world that pollute so heavily that it just messes up the world's statistics. It just doesn't even matter. I mean, if the U.S. went to 0 carbon footprint tomorrow, it wouldn't affect the planet virtually at all, because the largest polluters of the planet are not stopping. They're getting worse. So we have to compensate for this. By the way, the people who need the highest nutrition level are teenage boys. So they're going to have at least 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And let's be real about this, folks. Can any of you parents get your teenage boy to eat 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day? I don't think so. So let's go on to vitamins. Now, from a very famous study that was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, this was a human blood study, and they only studied vitamins. And tonight's presentation is not about vitamins, but I'm going to keep talking about vitamins back and forth throughout the presentation as it fits. So I want you to understand that this human blood study said almost no one gets enough vitamin from their diet, and everyone should be taking a dietary supplement. Now, in the U.S., 76% of Americans take dietary supplements, but guess what? 90% of Americans are deficient in at least one nutrient, and more than 70% are deficient in a long list of other nutrients. So despite the fact that they're taking supplements and eating plenty of food, they're apparently not getting enough nutrition. Vitamins and minerals are vital. They are essential for a host of function. In fact, all of the functions in your body require vitamins and minerals. All right, let's talk about the trends. Well, of the top 5 trends, the obvious one, right, especially because of the events of the last 2 years, the obvious number 1 trend would be immune system support, right? Well, let's talk about immune system support. What do the numbers show us? Well, in 2021, there was a 20 billion with a B. Now, folks, this is in US dollars. And I checked this morning before going to do this broadcast for you. And I saw that the exchange rate with Rand is 0.069 Rand to the dollar. So the number of zeros I'm talking about here in Rand will break your calculator. I mean, your calculator can't even deal with all these zeros. So US dollars, 20 billion US dollars in immune system product sales. That's enormous. And it's projected to go up to $31.5 billion annually. That's not a total between now and then. That's every single year by the year 2028. Now that's enormous. So then you'd say, wow, that's why it's number 1, right? What if I told you, though, what if I told you that immune system support is not number 1? Well, it's actually number 2. Well, then what is number 1, you might ask? Number 1 is digestive system support. And folks, it's number 1 by a long shot. You'll be surprised. Well, let me tell you what the other trends are first. Brain health, but not in the way of you thinking about brain health. Yes, cognitive function and memory. And by the way, Ambritos has 7 brain studies. You want a brain product, you take Ambritos. And most people don't know that there are 7 brain studies on Ambritos. But the big trend right now is about mood. And primarily because of the events of the last 2 to 3 years, but there's more than that. So we'll come back to mood in a little bit. Also, eye health. And that's primarily because everyone's got blue screen technology in their face every day. In fact, 71% of people take their cell phones to bed with them every night. Or I believe you say mobile phones in South Africa. And then, of course, products that relate to sleep and calmative, because worries in the world have become a massive problem. And that's a very, very big problem to talk about. Women's health and weight loss, I don't consider those trends because they're pretty consistent every year. And this is about trends, okay? All right, well, let's talk about digestive health then. Now, most people think, oh, yeah, well, you eat your food and that's it. You digest it. Well, it's not that simple. In fact, let's look at the numbers. You remember about 21 billion in immune system sales, 38 billion almost in digestive health sales. Now, that's $7 billion ahead, US dollars ahead of immune system health, a clear number 1 lead. It's not even close. And by the year 2027, according to the experts, they say that every single year, digestive health products will earn about $72 billion US dollars. So if you are not up to date on our digestive health products, if you are not current on what you can say and do with digestive health products, if you're not aware of our digestive health products, and if you've not been leading with digestive health products to build your business, folks, you are missing the boat, and you are going to be missing that boat big time through at least 2028. Because again, that number is almost double digestive health versus immune support health, almost double by a number of approximately 40 billion US dollars per year. Folks, you need to get on the digestive health bandwagon, as we say in the US. All right, what's driving the sales? Why are so many people buying digestive health products? Well, number one, 62% of all the people on planet Earth, all the adults on planet Earth, are having digestive health complaints. 76% in America. But of course, in some countries, food is better, in some countries, it's worse, but it's still 62%. And this is very important. The overwhelming majority of people who buy dietary supplements planet-wide are female. And women suffer almost twice as much with digestive health issues as men. They're the primary customer. They're also the target audience. They are your demographic for digestive health products. Women have almost twice as many digestive complaints as men. There is also the gut-brain connection. And I know you've heard a little bit about this, but I'm going to touch on this just a little bit more. Every day, I discipline myself to read at least 2 new scientific studies in addition to my daily work and research. I do this because new studies are coming out so fast, you just can't keep up with it. Now, I read recently a genetic study, which was fascinating to me, where they studied the genes in probiotic bacteria, and they found a link between signals from those genes and brain cells. And part of what the signal told us is a happy gut equals a happy brain. In fact, it's pretty much impossible to have a happy brain without a happy gut. Now, one of the most important chemicals for making you feel calm, for easing your worries, for helping you to relax, for helping you to go to sleep, is a chemical called gamma aminobutyric acid, or GABA. That's not made in the brain, it's made in the gut. So it takes a healthy intestinal tract to make that, and your brain needs it for all those things. What about serotonin? I know you've heard about that important chemical. 95% of the serotonin in your body is made in your gut. That's part of the gut-brain connection. So remember, almost double the sales, an incredible, phenomenal figure, $40 billion US difference between the sales of immune health products and digestive health products by the year 2028. Folks, if you're not with it, get with it. Understand our digestive products and understand what you can say about it and get on the stick. This is important stuff. Now, most of our associates from the very beginning, at least from 1996, when we came out with Ambertose Complex, started thinking about the immune system almost exclusively. And the overwhelming majority of people that have been invited into the Manitech family have been invited because they have immune system challenges, not because of other challenges. Understand, Ambertose is not designed as an immune product. Yes, it supports the immune system. We have science to prove that. But it does through cellular communication, which I'll talk about in a moment. Manopol is our most important immunomodulator. So that's hugely important. But in terms of gut health and your immune system, it's GI Pro Balance. So that is a convenient and tasty product in a sachet. And even our current product goes back to my original formula. When I made the very first GI Pro formula, I made it as a pre and probiotic combined. A prebiotic is the food that a probiotic eats to be healthy and multiply. And even my first formula of GI Pro was a pre and probiotic. So there is prebiotic already in the stick with the GI Pro Balance. And this product is now at 50 billion organisms. That is 50 billion. Whereas my original product was 15 billion. Now in this new product, GI Pro Balance, at the time of expiration, you will still have at least 15 billion viable organisms at time of expiration. But at time of formulation, you start with 50 billion, 50 billion. That's huge. But you know what? You have to start your digestion with enzymes. And most people don't know that starting around the age of 28, we begin a very minor and slow decline in our body's ability to produce digestive enzymes. By the time we're 40, it's quite notable. By the time we're 50, it's very notable, and so on as we age. Digestive enzymes are necessary to break down all of your food. And all of you have probably heard the phrase, you are what you eat. Well, that's never what I say. What I've been saying from the beginning of my career is, you are what you digest. Just because you ate it doesn't mean you digested it. Just because it passed through your system doesn't mean you digested it. So when I created the very first GI Enzyme product, it already was full spectrum. So it had enzymes in it for every single food group that a human being would eat, including dairy products. Every one of those. It even has an enzyme called alpha-galactosidase, which helps you dealing with gas and bloating from eating legumes and beans and so on, and broccoli and Brussels sprouts and so on, okay? So it even has that. But the new GI enzyme is almost twice as powerful as my original GI enzyme formula. And this formula comes in a convenient blister pack so that you can take it with you when you go out to eat or when you go to a friend's house to eat. And you can also, when you sit down with that friend who you know has digestive problems, and you're sitting down to eat, before you've ordered your food, offer them a GI enzyme and say, you know what? This is going to help. Now, it's going to take 15 to 20 minutes for this to fully break down in your system. So take it now before you're served your meal, and it's going to make a difference. Digesting your food is the first step in getting your nutrition, and that's all about GI enzyme. Now we're back to Catalyst again. Catalyst is our most powerful product, and as Geraldine announced at the beginning of this call, you now have a new Tom ready for you this month, which is all about Catalyst. So I really encourage you to get more detail on that with the Tom that is available on Catalyst. But these vitamins and minerals are crucial as cofactors and synergists. So I'm going to keep coming back to that periodically. All right, so we've done a general overview on the digestive trends. And I cannot emphasize strongly enough for you that you need to digest your food. Just because it passes through you doesn't mean you got nutrition from it. That's how you're designed to get your nutrition. That's where you should be going for your nutrition primarily. And enzymes are the key in a convenient blister pack, so there's no excuse for you not having it with you no matter where you go out to eat. You need that with you all the time. Make sure you take it before the meal for optimal results. However, even if you forget before the meal, it's still going to help you even if you take it during or after the meal. It'll just give you the best results if you take it before the meal, okay? And the GI Pro Balance, of course, has 8 different, very hardy probiotic bacteria, and my original formula had only 3, so we have really progressed up on this new formula, and it is so much stronger and so much more effective than the original and all of our iterations in between. So you'll want to do those 2 digestive health products literally every day. All right, the immune system, trend number 2. About, give or take, around 1.6 billion adults are looking for digestive health products. Now that's big, and that's bigger than, that's more people than any of you could ever possibly hope to talk to in your lifetime. So that's big enough. And we're going to talk about Manitech's unique answer to the immune health problems that many people are faced with today. So we are quickly approaching 8 billion. If you check the World Health Population Clock, which is on the internet, and don't do it right now while I'm talking, you're going to find that we are close to 8 billion people on planet Earth now, growing every day. So Manitech's immune support products include Manipul, of course, I call that the big guns. When you want to bring in the heavy artillery to get the job done, boy, as an immune modulator, Manipul is it. Ambritos supports the immune system through cellular communication. It's not a direct immune system support product, but it does a beautiful job supporting the immune system through cellular communication, as I've explained in many talks previously. But it does a host of other things. Its primary job is not immune system. And of course, Catalyst provides you with the vitamins and minerals that your immune system requires to make all of those other actions function. For instance, you need zinc, you need vitamin C, you need vitamin D, and the list goes on. And those are all in Catalyst. But ImmunoStart is our exclusive, a Manitech exclusive, and it is our primary immune support product, ImmunoStart. All the time I have associates who come to me and they say, I have this and that immune challenge. How much Ambritos should I take? And I always say, how much ImmunoStart are you taking? And they typically say, ImmunoStart? Why would I take that? Maybe because it's called ImmunoStart and you have an immune challenge. Well, you should start with ImmunoStart. ImmunoStart is our dedicated immune support product. It does things that none of our other products can do. In fact, it does things that nobody else's products can do, which is what we do for you at Manitech, bringing you products that are exclusive and unique that you can't find competition for anywhere else on the planet. And this is one of those products. You may not know that ImmunoStart has earned 7 patents. Now that's pretty extraordinary. Why has it earned patents? Because it is so unique, because it is so different than other products that support the immune system that may look like they're similar in some way. And I'll talk about a couple of those in a minute. The key factor with ImmunoStart is immunoglobulins. Now, you might say at this point, oh my gosh, he's going to get all complicated and scientific on me. And no, I'm not. I promise I'm not. We're going to keep this very simple. Immunoglobulins are things that your body makes and things that your body has to have. And they are essentially antibodies. They are your body's normal antibodies to meet immune system challenges. Now, as you can see, there are 5 important immunoglobulins. But one of them, the one in the center, IgG, immunoglobulin G, is beyond question. Look at the numbers, my friends. Beyond question, the most important immunoglobulin, and by a long shot, by a huge amount, versus the other immunoglobulins. One of our competitors that sells a colostrum product, or at least they claim it's a colostrum product, they tout IgG, or IgA, I'm sorry. They tout IgA and say how IgA is so important. Well, it is about 15% important in your system. And it is good in one direction in your system. But only IgG, which is clearly the most important by every measurable method, the most important, IgG affects the entire spectrum of immune challenges. So virus, bacteria, fungal, IgG is there to affect that entire spectrum, whereas the other IgGs are not. And these IgG antibodies are found in all of the fluids in the human body, all of them. Now you might say, well, if they're already in the fluids of the human body, why do I care about ImmunoStart? Because when you have a challenge, you need to really step up to the plate and hit a home run. You need to really pump up those antibodies. ImmunoStart contains IgG and it promotes the production of even more IgG. That is why you always start with ImmunoStart. That's why it's called ImmunoStart. Okay, that's how it got the name. Well, again, 75 to 80% of all of the antibodies in your entire body are IgG. Why does the body do it that way? Because it's the most important one, because it's the most broad spectrum one. So if you have a product that tastes great, which by the way, this product does, if you have a product that's convenient, easy to use, and it tastes great, and it contains IgG, and it promotes more production of IgG, my gosh, folks, why would you not want to be using this product every day? Of course you would, but only if you knew the facts that you are learning right now. And these IgGs, as I mentioned, are important for virtually every type of immune response, not one category, but every type. Now, this is interesting too. I'm frequently asked, and people don't realize that they hurt my feelings when they ask, since I'm our chief science officer and I've formulated so many of our products, and people will say to me, is the product safe? Why in the world would I ever promote a product that wasn't safe? I mean, really, folks, why do people even bother to ask me that question? I mean, I understand, concerns. I get it. So let me talk to you about safety. Of all of the immunoglobulins, only one is deemed safe enough by the human body to cross the placental barrier in a pregnant woman. Only one, and that is IgG. Why? Well, your baby, that fetus, needs IgG literally from the moment of conception. So is it safe? Yeah, I don't think you can get any safer than that. Now, there's another company out there that's making a ton of money by selling a beta-glucan product. And they've done, I'll tell you what, folks, they've done a fabulous marketing job. It's beautiful. I was very, very impressed when I looked at it. And their product is nothing except beta-glucan. Now, that's good. Beta-glucans are good, right? But they can't even begin to equal what you have in terms of IgGs. They're simply a complement to the IgG. Well, we've done that complement, and we have exclusively contracted to have a particular beta-1316 glucan. There's all kinds of beta-glucans, by the way, so this is a beta-1316. And this beta-glucan is very specifically derived from the walls of nutritional yeast. And before any of you panic and say, oh my God, it's yeast. It's not yeast. There's no yeast in the product. This is derived from the cell wall of the nutritional yeast. There's no yeast. There's nothing to worry about, okay? So the beta-1316 derived from nutritional yeast is highly branched. And in simple terms, that means it's going to be more effective for your immune function. And according to extensive study, this particular beta-1316 that we use at Manatech, we know can activate immune system receptors in your mouth. And that helps you to get a start on your immune system before you even swallow the product. Now, folks, it says on the label that you should chew tablets thoroughly, and you should. Occasionally, somebody tries to swallow those big tablets, and that's not a good idea. So you should chew them thoroughly, but you should savor the flavor. Keep it in your mouth as long as you can, because the longer those beta-1316 glucans are in contact with your mouth, the more it's starting your immune function before you even swallow the rest of the content, which includes the IgG and the citrus pectin. Well, let's talk about the citrus pectin. Now, on your label, it simply says citrus pectin. It is, in fact, modified citrus pectin because human beings can't digest citrus pectin. It has to be modified in order for you to digest it. We take it from the rinds of oranges and from lemons, and sometimes from limes as well. And then we have to break it down into smaller components so you can digest and absorb it. That's where the word modified comes in. So it's been modified from its original form. And it's also a good source of dietary fiber. By the way, if you look up pectins on the internet, you're going to find many, many studies that talk about pectin and detoxification particularly pectin and metals and detoxification. Just a thought for you. So let's go back to glycans for a moment, because the overwhelming majority of our associates planet-wide, and I know this because I'm in contact with our associates all week long, every week, and have been now for more than 27 years. So I know what people are thinking and what they do, and almost everybody is fixated on Ambertose. I love Ambertose. It's my favorite product, and I want everyone on the planet to have it, but it is not our immune primary product. It supports immune function, and we've documented that well scientifically, but it's not our primary immune product. Our primary immune product is Immunostart, okay? You've seen me do this presentation before, probably most of you have, where I talk about the cell surface receptor sites. And as you look at the picture, what you see is a lot of little green beads on the end of a little coil coming out of the cell. Those are the receptor sites. And the little green beads represent glycoproteins. That's a glycan and a protein bonded together. Or commercially, we say glyconutrient and a protein bonded together. That's what sends signals and receives signals. Every cell of your body, every system of your body, every function of your body requires cellular communication, which is why Ambertose is so important for virtually everything. I don't care what your complaint is. It's virtually everything that it is important for because of cellular communication. I have Manipul off to the side there. Manipul does contribute to cellular communication, but its primary job is to be the massive immunomodulator. And when I say modulator, people think in terms of extremes, unfortunately. They'll think about immune boosting or immune suppression. Well, in the middle of that is the healthy state of immune function, which is called immune modulation. You don't want to boost the immune system for somebody that has autoimmune immune problems. That would be foolish. You want to modulate the immune system. And Ambertose and Manipul are both modulators versus stimulators or suppressors. And again, we come back to catalyst. Why? Because in order for Ambertose to function, in order for Manipul to function, certain vitamins and minerals must be present. And most people are not getting sufficient vitamin and mineral in their diet every day, as I have pointed out. So make sure you're taking your catalyst every day. Now we get into the trend on brain health now. I'm not going to talk a great deal about this because, well, we're running out of time in this presentation. But it focuses more the trend, so not the consistent sales. The consistent sales are in memory and cognitive function. And Manitech has 7 brain studies that show us without question that Ambertose definitely positively supports cognitive function and memory function. There's no question about that. But the trend right now, primarily due to the events of the last 2 to 3 years, is in mood. People have become so profoundly sad that we now are experiencing the highest suicide rate on planet Earth, probably in recorded history. And there are a lot of reasons for this. There's stress, there's worries, there's isolation that has occurred, and human beings don't do well in isolation. We need each other. We are social animals, and that has really driven people to a very deep and profound level of sadness. Now, social media also plays, unfortunately, a very big role in this, because even before the events of the last few years, social media was already trending in the highest single uptick in reasons for suicide of any category. Why? Because millions, perhaps billions of people have become chemically addicted, and I say chemically, I mean brain chemically addicted, to their cell phones and social media. If you get the likes that you want on your post, it gives you a positive brain chemical spurt, if you will. But if you don't get the like, it gives you a negative brain chemical response. If you get a retweet, gives you a positive. If you don't get a retweet, gives you a negative. If people are nasty to you on the internet, it gives you a negative, and so on. It's very, very serious stuff. And of course, the lack of physical activity and very poor sleep. And sleep has probably never been worse in human history than it is now. So these are all factors that contribute to very low mood. Now, remember, I want you to digest your food, because the vitamins and minerals that contribute to happiness, you're going to get those in your food if you can properly digest them, GI-zyme. There is a gut-brain connection. We know that there are certain probiotic bacterium that are necessary to not just have a happy gut, but also a happy brain. We also know that there are chemicals made in a healthy gut which contribute to sleep and feeling calm and relaxing your mind and your worries, and much more. So again, we go back to catalysts. Well, catalysts provide you with happiness vitamins. That's what I call them. That's not an official term from Manitech. That's simply the way I see it. Years ago, when I formulated the first version of Catalyst, I'm not sure what version we're on right now, but when I formulated the very first version of Catalyst, I wanted to make sure that there was a huge amount of happiness vitamins in the product, because those happiness vitamins also contribute to a host of other health issues, not just making you feel more energetic and a lot happier mentally. Well, these happiness vitamins are in the B complex. There's 4 members of the B complex. When I first made this product, the original product, I had read a study that compared a pharmaceutical drug to these 4 B vitamins in a human clinical trial. And it seemed that the majority of the women in this study had much greater mood elevation from the vitamins than they did from the drug. Now, that was one study, and that was a long time ago, et cetera. But the point is, there are 4 vitamins in very high concentrations in this product that I call happiness vitamins, because they do, in fact, elevate your mood. Pretty hard not to be happy when you got huge amounts of these. And by the way, they're all water soluble, which means you can't harm yourself by taking these levels. What your body can't use during a given 4 to 6 hour period, you will simply excrete through your urine. So it's not a problem for you. So going back to the trends now. Trend number 1, clearly, obviously, by a huge margin, digestive system support is the number 1 trend. And according to the business experts, they tell us through the year 2028, it's going to continue to be the number 1 trend. Number 2 will probably continue to be immune support, according to the experts. 3, brain health for all those areas I talked to you about. And remember, Ambertose has 7 brain studies. They're all on Ambertose complex, but remember that. And of course, mood. One of the things you can do for your mood is catalyst. So make sure you take your catalyst and listen to that Tom that you have available right now that I did on catalyst. And for eye health, well, the primary vitamins for eye health are vitamin A and zinc. They're both in the best form you can get in catalyst. Also, omega-3, hugely important for your eye health. The majority of the DHA in your body should be found in your brain and in the retina of your eye. So the omega-3, very, very important for your eye health. And sleep and calmatives, we can't really get into a lot of that in tonight's presentation. We are looking for ways to help countries around the world with their various regulations, with various formulas that we can use. In the meantime, know that if you have higher amounts of magnesium, not calcium, magnesium, then that will contribute to calmness and sleep, etc. And as you might suspect, I'm about to say catalyst. Okay? So those are the top trends, my friends. You now have information you need to be prepared to start talking to people about World Health Day on April 7th. I want you to think about this. You could start calling people right now. You know, World Health Day is April 7th. Do you know what they're talking about at the World Health Organization? No, it's not what you thought they were talking about. It's something entirely different. And now you have the opportunity to talk with people about their health in these various categories, and you've got some good directions to go in. Certainly, you have the products. Remember, the key to success in sales, you identify a problem, you offer a solution. And by the way, I have 3 business points when I was building my Platinum downline years ago. Number 1, you have to have a product that everyone needs. We clearly do. Number 2, you have to have a product that's consumable and renewable. We clearly do. Number 3, you have to have a product that is unique to you. Folks, in every category, we clearly do. Everything you need to be successful in your Manitech business, we have. It's all about you. As the old saying goes, the ball is in your court. Thanks for listening. I look forward to talking with all of you again about a month from now.